Hey, y'all, listen. Happy, what is it, Tuesday? Happy Tuesday, people. Happy Tuesday. We're in the building. We're here for Trending Topics. And we got stuff to talk about. Listen, the title is simple. The title is called Wow. Wow. Hold on 1 second. I'll share. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like, wait, what's on my face here? We got to be good when we online. So, the title is called Wow. It's called Wow. So Diddy asked for bail again. Listen, here's the thing. At this point, y'all know how I've been over here with Diddy. I've been getting beat up for my Diddy stuff. But I will say this. At this point, let it go. Let it go. October is literally around the corner. We're about to enter August. I want to say Friday is the 1st, ain't it? Friday is August the 1st. So he got August, September, and then October 3rd is the hearing. Let this thing go. But I guess at this point, he just wants to spend money with the lawyers. Now, I read the letter. I'm not going to read the whole letter to y'all where the lawyers, asked for this bail again and the reasons why. And they got some legit reasons. But right after the verdict, when they tried to get bail, they should have had all of these reasons then to present to the judge to say, grant him his bail. But when they came back the next day, they said, don't worry about it, forget it. Diddy will go ahead and stay in jail. So why are we here again? They have got to be making history for the amount of times that they have asked for Diddy to be out on bail. And this time I just legit don't understand it. Because October 3rd is literally around the corner. Now, if this was his first time asking for bail, I'd be like, come on, y'all, stop playing, let him out. But he done spent almost a year behind bars. He might as well go ahead and do these 60 days because let's just say at sentencing, they say he got to do a year or 12 months. Well, 12 months is a year, right? He got to do a year or 18 months or something like that. He would already had a year served. Sir, just sit there to October 3rd. But they do bring up this Mann Act. And they said that Diddy is the first person in history that has ever been behind bars in his type of situation on the Mann Act. But Diddy made a lot of first-time history with this case. They said they never known any other case that had RICO and there was no co-conspirators sitting next to him. Diddy got railroaded from the door, but I told you that. The whole thing was a circus. But now, marking them, y'all participating in the circus because he needs to go home for what? Let him sit there. October 3rd will be here soon enough. I know he's over it, but don't lose gas at the end of the race. Keep your head up, meditate, finish out those programs you said you joined while you was in there and do what you got to do. Let's continue. We're going to talk about Diddy tonight. The title is called Wow. We'll talk about it. Then we're going to talk about the decisions we make. Listen, let me tell you this. Do I get it? That for the most part, people would love to be in loving relationships with whoever they choose to be in a relationship with. But when you're willing to be in a relationship at the cost of yourself, that's problematic. It's problematic. There's this woman. She lost both her legs because her and her boyfriend at the time was in New York in the train station having an argument. A train is coming in, pulling into the station. He decides he's going to push her on the tracks in front of the train. She lost both her legs. He pled guilty, and they sentenced him to 18 years. This is out there in New York, people. 18 years. Did you hear me? She could have died. She lost both her legs. He pushed her on the train tracks, and the train was coming. And he got 18 years. And why did I connect these two stories? Because I think it's totally insane that Diddy was found guilty of hiring people to have relations with, and the people want him to spend the rest of his natural life up in the jail. And this man pushed somebody on the tracks, got ran over, no longer had their legs, and he's just doing 18 years. You got to make it make sense. But I know it's hard sometimes when some people suffer some things. It's hard to tell them, or to maybe use the story as a lesson to others. But we got to do it. So this is my story and the lesson to others. And the lesson to others is that her boyfriend at the time that pushed her on the tracks, he had an ankle bracelet on because he was out on probation for stabbing up the last girlfriend and the 4-year-old kid. As much as I would love to have a partner, a husband, or whatever, there ain't no way that, if you ask me, okay, maybe the government is in the second and third and fourth chances, but the diva is not. You come to me and you got an ankle bracelet on, and I ask you, what's that about? And you tell me you stabbed up this one, that one, whatever, I'll be like, I'll be right back. And you will never see me again. And before he pushed you on the tracks, he just so happened to have ripped off the ankle bracelet that he had on. He's doing 18 years. And she's going to do the rest of her life with no legs. We'll talk about it. Then we got this NBA star. What's his name? Marcus. What is his darn name? It's Marcus something. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it here. Marcus Morris. You know, with these men nowadays, it seems like if the sex don't get them, the alcohol gets them. If the alcohol don't get them, the drugs get them. If the drugs don't get them, the weed get them. If the weed don't get them, the sex or the gambling. So he allegedly got a gambling problem. And owed the casino a whole lot of money. They put a warrant out for his arrest, and the judge gave him no bond. So he's sitting in jail till August over some money owed to the casinos. Listen, Diva will get a lottery ticket. Yes, I will. Diva will get a scratch off every now and then. Yeah, I will. But what Diva is not going to do is be spending thousands and hundreds of dollars at nobody casino. No, I'm not doing that. I'd rather get a bag or a shoe, a rug for my home, a towel. Now, I know we all got our vices. You know, I got an issue with going to Starbucks. But ain't no way on this earth that I'm about to give up all my good money on a casino, which I personally feel they're rigged. That's my personal opinion. I don't mean I'm right, but I feel they're rigged. I feel the casino wins 99.9% of the time, and every now and then they let somebody hit a little something so everybody can get excited and think they're going to be next. We're going to talk about it. Out here, the house always wins. Come on, Katrina. The house always wins. You ain't going to get all my good money. And then maybe have some fun. Maybe $1 here or two, maybe 10, maybe 20, maybe 100. But I ain't about to leave all my money in nobody's casino. Not going to happen. Listen, people, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is, what is it, Tuesday night trending topics. We got stuff to talk about. The title is called Wow. Diddy asked for bail again. And now they're waiting for the prosecution to respond to his request. Okay, a woman loses her legs at a train push. He pushed her on the tracks. Supposed to be her man. And the NBA star is locked up. Hold on now. Hey, Julius. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, y'all. Hit the like button.
Hey, 48. You know what? I guess, this story is so long. Should I do him first or do him last, Diddy? Let me see where I'm at. You know what? Let's get into this train story. Let's get into this because we got to talk to the young people out there. Hold on. Let me share this screen. Y'all got to watch who you date. Let me just share this and let's back it up here. All right. Let's do that. All right, let me see. Oh, see. 1 second.
At 6, and it's a disturbing one. A woman is in the hospital tonight fighting for her life. Police say her boyfriend pushed her onto the subway tracks in the financial district. Our Melissa Colorado is live at the Fulton Street station tonight. And Melissa, what are police telling you?
Well, Gilman, we've heard of random, unprovoked subway violence, but this is actually a case of domestic violence happening right here. Police telling us what started out as a shouting match between a couple ended with that boyfriend shoving his 29-year-old girlfriend onto the subway tracks right as a subway train was pulling in.
Oh my gosh, I'm praying for her.
When is it going to stop, It's ridiculous.
Subway riders in shock upon hearing that a case of domestic violence spilled onto the subway tracks of the Fulton Street station this morning around 10:30. Police responded to the call that a boyfriend pushed his 29-year-old girlfriend over the platform edge as a Brooklyn-bound 3 train was pulling in. Police say the man ran away.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Is she, alive?
Power to the third rail was turned off as paramedics and police officers tried to pull the woman from under the train. Both of her feet were severed. She was rushed to Bellevue Hospital, where she remains in stable condition.
Where's all these National Guard that they said that they were going to come?
Alec Walker, who lives in the neighboring Seaport area, says he hasn't seen the amped-up security presence that Governor Kathy Hochul promised earlier this week after announcing that she is deploying the National Guard and the state police to quell fears of crime.
Where's the safety? Where's the protection? Where's the tax money going to?
And again, the women's feet were severed. They had to be amputated. Police still searching for that man. No arrests made yet. That's the latest here from the Fulton Street subway station. I'm Melissa Colorado, News 4 New York.
Now, I just wanted to give you an update. This happened over a year ago, but the update is now that, he was caught shortly after that. They did catch him. But I want to give you the update now because he pled guilty, and he got 18 years. Let me just see. Let's see if I could share this. I'm waiting for my screen to share, but in the meantime, I'll read it to you. So, woman who lost both legs at the wait, did it stop? It's coming through. A woman who lost both legs. Okay, let's do wait. After Craze X shoved her in front of a New York City train, gives tear-jerking speech at sentencing, mourned the life I lived with my feet. So, a woman whose crazed ex shoved her in front of a Manhattan subway train heartbreakingly described losing both of her legs as the maniac was sentenced in court Tuesday. Ada Blake delivered a gut-wrenching victim impact statement, yearning about sensations she missed since doctors amputated both her legs as her parolee ex-beau, Christian Valdez, 36, was slapped with a sentence of 18 years behind bars. That's nothing. Okay. An iteration of me was murdered that day, one that could feel the earth beneath her feet, victim Ada Blake said from a motorized chair in Manhattan Supreme Court of the horrific March 2024 attack at Fulton Street. To feel the comfort of the soft filler, feel the pile of a shag carpet, feel the water flow between your toes. I mourn the life that I lived with my feet. Valdez had pleaded guilty in June to one count of attempted murder in the second degree. Blake, who was 29 at the time of the attack, was Valdez's girlfriend when the pair got into an argument on the platform of the 2/3 train line at the Fulton Street station on March 9, 2024, prosecutors have said. He viciously threw me into the path of the oncoming and in a genuine disbelief, my body made contact with filth and screaming still, Blake said, revealing that she remembered bits of flesh from her legs in her own hands when she was rescued from the tracks. Both of Blake's legs were amputated at a nearby hospital, and she also suffered fractures to her ribs and a blood clot in her lungs, prosecutors have said. Valdez left the station after the attack before fleeing to New Jersey. He returned to the Big Apple hours later, and he was arrested in Brooklyn. The psycho, who offered no apology in court, had torn off his ankle monitoring bracelet just a day before the attack. He was out on parole after a 2020 conviction for stabbing a Bronx woman and her 4-year-old daughter. Blake said that she will never feel safe or comforted riding the subway again after the attack. Perverse circumstances have left me traumatized, disfigured, and marginalized even further and vulnerably on earth as an African-American disabled female, she said. Valdez was also sentenced to 5 years of post-release supervision and given a full order of protection against the victim. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg said in a statement that he hopes Blake will find some justice with the sentencing. Christian Valdez will serve nearly 2 decades in prison following his conviction for committing a life-threatening act of DV in our transit system, Bragg said. As a result of the extremely serious attack, the victim has permanent physical injuries and experienced emotional trauma. I hope the resolution of this case offers her some sense of justice. I don't know if that's really justice, but I guess you could say he's locked up. Julius, your thoughts?
That man is a minion, and I'm glad he's locked up. And he's a gutter snake for just pushing her on down. So wrong. But I'm glad he's locked up.
Thank you. 48, your thoughts?
Hey Diva, hey panel chat. Me personally, Diva, this is why Alligator Alcatraz should be made. And it should house individuals like this guy. People that commit heinous crimes and stuff like that. That's where they should go. Like, I do not get it. And like the correlation that you made between this and the Diddy thing. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy that this guy almost, like, he permanently injured this lady. He almost unalived her. And he only gets 18 years? Ripped off an ankle monitor? Isn't that what you said? He ripped off an ankle?
Yeah.
Like, that is
and before that, he was on probation for stabbing another woman and her 4-year-old child.
It is absolutely insane. I think that young lady, if there is a case to sue, I think she should sue the judicial system, however that like goes, because it's no way that someone with that kind of violence should be out again. Like assault on a child, you almost unalived another woman and a child. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you go to court, they only, it's insane. I think that we all should get a petition, sign, and send it to Trump and tell Trump to send these fools that are here in America, forget the immigrants, unless they doing heinous crap like this. Don't
Mm-hmm.
send them there. Send these fools here that American born immigrant, it don't matter, that are unappreciative of this free life that they live here. It's a shame that women in New York, I'm not in New York, but it's a shame that women in New York have to deal with crazies on the train, crazies waiting for the train, and then to see a crazy do this to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. I hope she sues the heck out of the transit system, whoever, because that's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's what I got, Diva.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up in New York. I never understood there are some train systems where you wouldn't have the opportunity to push the person on the tracks because it's like gates, like the track is just not freely open like that, and then the gate kind of opens when the train pulls up and you walk on like through the door. I think they too many train incidents has happened, and I think they need to do something better to protect the people. I am with you on that. Katrina, your thoughts?
Hey Diva, hey panel, hey chat. Um, I'm with 48. I think she should sue them because if he wasn't out, this couldn't have happened to me.
Mhm.
And I feel like they need to put him on that track and let the train run over his legs because he still
Mhm.
got his ability to walk. She doesn't, and
Yeah.
you'll be out of jail or out of prison wherever you is sometimes, and you still can walk around and do what you need to do. And I can't. I'm stuck in a wheelchair. I honestly think they need to put his legs on that track and let the train run him over because that's not fair. First of all, it's not fair because he's out, and y'all know what type of person he was. He took off his ankle bracelet, so the alarm should have went off then. And then
Mm.
he tried to do somebody else do the same thing to another woman. And then okay, he gets 16 years, whatever, and then he's gonna get out before then on good behavior. So he's gonna be able to walk out with his legs. I think they should put him right on that railroad track and let the train run on. Not our train, because our train too good for that. But I think they need to put him on the railroad track and let the train run over his legs. That's all I got.
I appreciate you. Yeah, this is sad. They're agreeing with you in 48, Katrina. This is very sad, and this is just sad. And now she has no legs. But I have to say this because we have to educate when we're over here too. And this is no judgment against her, but if you dating somebody, they got an ankle bracelet. Nowadays you can Google and you can look up the reason why somebody is on probation, out, got an ankle bracelet or whatever. Um, she probably should have never been with him in the first place, and I'm not blaming her for anything. But I will say to y'all, if they got an ankle bracelet, run. I don't care how cute they are, how good they look. Let that thing go. So I'm
And
gonna
don't
go.
forget about the little girl. What's the name? The Tanners, whatever. That preacher granddaughter. She had on an ankle bracelet. She beat somebody in the head with some rocks.
Right. You ain't lying, Katrina. So it's like people are disrespectful to the law. Disrespectful to the law. So let's go ahead and roll into the next story. And the next story I'll do the Diddy story last. I'll do this player who found himself in trouble. Let's share screen. I don't understand these people that have so much and they kind of toss their life away over little crazy stuff. So NBA's Marcus Morris, and y'all know I'm not a big sports fan, so I don't really know him, like that. So stole 265K from Las Vegas casinos, prosecutors say. So Marcus Morris' latest legal woes stem from allegations he stole over $250,000 from two prominent Las Vegas casinos, TNC Sports have learned. According to court documents we obtained, the NBA player allegedly got $115,000 from MGM Grand Hotel and Casino via bad checks in May 2024 and never paid it back when the checks bounced. Officials state around a month later in June 2024, he performed a similar scam at the Wynn Las Vegas Hotel and Casino, netting $150,000 through checks he knew were in cash. The doc showed two separate warrants for Morris' arrest were issued over the claims earlier this year. This is him in court with his lawyer. The lawyer tried to get him out on bond, and the judge was like, no. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Morris is charged with two separate cases, two separate warrants out of the state of Nevada. I have spoken to the officials in Nevada. They do intend to extradite him if he remains in custody. The warrants are for what they entitle as sort of a bad check, and then theft greater than $100,000. Apparently, the factual basis is gambling at a casino, taking out a marker for the $100,000 or more. I guess on two separate occasions. So that's their position is there was attempts to negotiate with Mr. Morris, both by the casinos and then by the district attorney's office in Nevada. Those have been unresponsive. So the charges were filed. The warrant is outstanding. Counsel has indicated that there may be some intent to pay it. I know Mr. Morris and his family have means. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I can't make those assumptions. But I did speak with the state of Nevada. They did indicate that should the full amounts be paid, it sounded to me like there was going to be some sort of dismissal process, like our diversion programs. So I can tell the court all of that information. The state of Nevada wants you to know that they do intend to extradite him. They don't want him to be released.
With that said, Your Honor, it's not just an intent to resolve this. The payment has actually been initiated. It's a large payment, but it is via wire. We have witness here that can testify that the payment has actually been initiated and that these charges will be resolved. It doesn't help anyone and only wastes resources for my client to remain behind bars on this sort of situation, Your Honor.
Counsel, the motion to set bond at this time is denied. If you guys resolve it, and as I indicated to all of the individuals in the box, if the other state chooses to dismiss the warrant for whatever reason, they'll be immediately processed out and released. But I'm not going to set a bond. I have no jurisdiction to even tell him to report to Nevada or to go to court in Nevada. Because the bond is only for him to show up to court in Broward County. So I have no jurisdiction to even ask him to show up in Nevada. And if he doesn't show up in Nevada, I can't do anything to him because I don't have any jurisdiction to do so. So that's the reason why I don't set those type of bonds. I can only require that he comes to court in Broward County. So therefore, I am denying the warrant based on the reasons that you guys requested it. However, once you guys resolve everything with Nevada and the bond is paid, or the monetary amount is paid, whatever it is, and they dismiss the warrant, I would have no problem making sure he gets released forthwith.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I believe the case law cited in our motion states that you actually do have authority to grant bond in this sort of situation, and you can actually impose conditions requiring him to surrender in Nevada or to report back to you in a certain amount of time. We're willing to comply with all of that.
I understand, counsel. I understand that I can ask him to do that, but if he doesn't show up in Nevada, there's nothing I can do about it. I can tell him to do anything. I can require that he does it, but if he doesn't show up, I don't have any jurisdiction to incarcerate him here in Broward County because he didn't show up in Nevada. So I'm declining to use my discretion in reference to setting a bond at this time. However, counsel, if Nevada chooses to drop the charges, we will release him as soon as that happens.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I ask that you reserve ruling on this motion and give us an opportunity to present additional support to you?
I am not going to reserve ruling, counsel, but I am going to deny it without prejudice. If you wish to file an additional motion, that would be up to you.
Okay, and how soon
It'll
would we
be
be?
without prejudice. You can always revisit it and request, file another motion with any additional information. But based on the grounds that are in the motion at this time, I am denying the motion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, have a good day, counsel.
So back there in the black, that's his brother, is back there. The lawyer is talking to the brother now. And you know the
Goodbye, Judge.
hold on, let me
All right, goodbye.
so the brother is
Communicating with anybody out in the audience, folks. Okay, not you, but them. No communicating with him.
the brother was trying, I guess, and the friends were trying to talk to him.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is $250,000. This just tells you, even though this is a different jurisdiction, this just tells you how court works, right? And I'm not minimizing what he has done here, stolen money from these casinos, but $250,000 and he can't go out on bond. It's just a shame. But you know what? In life, you do the crime, you got to do the time, and you don't get to pick your punishment. So Morris, as you know, was taken into custody at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport in Florida on Sunday over the warrants. He remained behind bars, waiting for extradition since. On Tuesday, Morris' attorneys argued for his release, stating he currently is in the process of paying off his debts in Nevada, and releasing him will help expedite the ordeal. But a judge denied the lawyer's motion for a bond, saying she will only release him to Nevada authorities for extradition, or if the warrants that were issued for his arrest were withdrawn. Morris appeared in the courtroom for the proceedings, but remained stoic as his attorneys spoke with the judge. His twin brother, ex-NBA champ Markieff Morris, was a spectator in the courtroom. The Morris brothers' agent, Yanni No, called the whole saga absolute insanity on Sunday night, though he hasn't offered an additional comment since. Morris last logged minutes in the NBA game in 2024. This is just sad. It's a shame. The state of some of these men.
It is clear that our client has not physically been extradited there yet. This warrant does not allege any capital or life offenses, and there are no circumstances that would preclude Your Honor from
ask him to show up in Nevada. And if he doesn't show up in Nevada, I can't do anything to him because I don't have any jurisdiction to do so.
Goodbye, Judge.
They kind of show the same thing we already saw. Julius, your thoughts?
I mean, he chose not to pay. Then he's trying to play like he's trying to pay. And he's begging to get out. What, so you could rack up more debt? That's why you're behind bars in the first place. And this is a fair point. Yeah, Trump owes a whole lot of debt, but we're not talking about him right now. Back to the story at hand. Now, this man chose not to pay, and he racked up like, what, $250K? Now, to a small mind like me, that's a whole lot of dough. Okay. Pay your debt and stay out the pen. Okay, that's all. That's it for my TED Talk.
Wayne, your thought? I'm sorry, 48, your thoughts? $48, are you there? Okay.
Is that it?
You kind of jumbled up.
I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna come back in.
Okay, no problem. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, I think he's getting what he deserves. He tried to play the system.
Mm-hmm.
They said he had the means to pay. He just didn't want to pay it back. He wanted to pay it back on his terms. Now, the information that the lawyer, one of them said that, well, he does have it. It's going to be wired and all that. Well, maybe when you should have mentioned that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, now, well, he has it, you know. Oh, well, we can't do nothing because, you know, it's out of our jurisdiction. But he had them people $250,000 for however long, years or whatever. They're going to get it back, and they getting it back with interest. That's why his tail going to stay in jail until they actually, she said, they get the stuff set up. It's crazy. He had the means, but he going to pay it back on his terms. And this is what he got. And, and in Vegas, he's not going to be going back unless he's a real good criminal, because he's probably known at every casino in Vegas. They have you on face recognition. And if you're banned from one of those casinos, when you walk in that casino with all those cameras, face recognition, and it'll alert security that this person is in the casino. So he deserves it. He deserves it. I'm not sorry for him. I mean, he ain't gonna get no years in jail, but take a little bit of time you got, or they're gonna, you know, till you get yourself settled. And stop whimpering. Why shouldn't he be out? You should be right there with the rest of them. That's it.
Thank you, Katrina. Your thoughts?
Yeah, he must be playing the high limits. What I don't get is, if you got this much money, why are you writing checks? Why you just can't, you know, you can go up there and they would give you the money, you know how you do like a was it American Express or something like that, and it'll come out of your account. So if you got the means, why are you writing bad checks? Because you thought you was gonna get away with it. But how you gonna get away with it when folks got your checks, fool? And the folks tried to get in touch with him to make, you know, accommodations, you know, to try to settle it out. He wouldn't even respond to the people. So yeah, he right where he need to be. And for you to be up there and lost $250,000 at a casino, something that you would never see again, you might well just should have buried a pot and just threw it in there or threw it in the ocean, because you're never gonna see that again. And for him to be out there not one time, but two times. Like, man, get it together. Yeah, everybody got vices, but dang, your vices is way up there. Maybe he need to stay locked up in there because he probably got a gambling problem. So maybe he need to be stay locked behind bars for a little while and get some help. Because you in a casino losing that much money, you got a problem. You definitely got a problem. That's the reason why he didn't have no money in the bank, because he probably had already gambled that out. Because if you had money in the bank, that check was gonna clear. So obviously you have no money in the bank. So what you was trying to do, win to get the money back, and then you gonna try it again? I mean, good Lord, these folks need investors or something, because they get to these basketball status, don't have no done brains in their head. I think all of them got Mario coins in their head, and somebody need to pop them and make them come out, because that's just stupid. I mean, this is totally stupid. You went up and you honestly thought them folks was gonna let you get away with it. He must don't know who be running those casinos. The mobs don't be playing. He thought, child. Anyway, we'll see what happens. He behind bars. That's where he need to stay. That's all I got.
Thank you. 48, your thoughts? $48, you there?
I am here, Diva, but I think it's the Lord. I was fitting to cut up. So if I'm cutting
Yeah,
up,
okay.
I'm just drop out.
Thank you for coming through here. We can't hear you. All right. So I'm gonna roll into this last story. It's the Diddy story, and them asking for bail again. I understand everything they're asking for, and it's not that I disagree with their acts. I just disagree with the fact of that he has 60 days before his sentencing about, because August 1st is Friday. So a little over 60 days. He might as well sit this thing out. Right? Because it's August, September. October 3rd is the hearing. He might as well sit this thing out and wait this thing out. And yeah, you can't shortchange no casino. So first I'm not gonna go through this whole thing because it's 12 pages. But I'm gonna go through some of it to give us some context on, what the fight is with Diddy. So this is the letter that Mark, his lawyer, wrote to the judge. But remember, the judge asked both of them, the prosecutors and the defense, to come up with the case laws, the case studies, like prior cases that are similar to Diddy's before he does the sentencing. So not only did they come up with prior cases to fight their, fight when it comes to the sentencing, they also they came up with these cases that also asked the judge one more again to let Diddy out until his sentencing. So it's addressed to the Honorable Judge Iran, the Southern District of New York. Is dated today. And they say, dear Judge, Sean Combs, through his counsel, moves for his release on appropriate conditions in advance of his sentencing hearing scheduled for October 3rd, 2025. They give the title behind it, okay? They said, gives the district court the authority to release a person otherwise subject to detention pursuant to, they give the rule again, where among other things, it is clearly shown that there are exceptional reasons why such person's detention would not be appropriate. And they give the case study, United States versus Chavez, right? There are exceptional circumstances warranting a departure from mandatory detention and assuming that Sean Combs is released. So let's go through some of this. I didn't mean to hit that. First, as shown below, the history of the Mann Act, as well as how it has been prosecuted over the last several decades, clearly indicate the exceptional, indeed unique nature of this case, specifically the prosecution and continued incarceration of a customer. So the Mann Act usually pertains to the person who is selling their body, not the customer. That's what they're writing here, just to give you some information. And the unique nature of the case, specifically the prosecution and continued incarceration of a customer of services provided by a sex worker to a third party, rather than of a defendant profiting financially from the business of, those services. In the limited cases of the Mann Act convictions from across the country that bear any similarity to Mr. Combs' case, the defendants were released pending sentencing. So they're saying that every case they could find that remotely came close to Sean Combs' case, none of those offenders were held behind bars as they were waiting for their sentencing. They were free. Second, Mr. Combs' conditions of confinement at the MDC qualify as an exceptional circumstances under the United States versus Chavez, okay? Again, they're pointing to that case. To be released on conditions under Section 3145, two conditions must be met. First, the district court must find by clear and convincing evidence that the person is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of any other person or the community if released. Second, it must be clearly shown that there are exceptional reasons why such person's detention would not be appropriate. We will first address the exceptional reasons justifying Mr. Combs' release and then turn to the set of proposed conditions that will assure Mr. Combs' return to court and ensure the safety of the community. So here they go. As noted, there are several exceptional reasons justifying release. First, in the history of the statute of the Mann Act, has never applied to facts similar to those prosecute or incarcerate any other person. Second, in any somewhat similar situated cases to this one, all defendants were released pending sentencing. Third, under Chavez, Mr. Combs' conditions of confinement at the MDC for the past 11 months justify release. As Judge Furman noted in the Chavez case, the Supreme Court has never addressed the meaning of exceptional reasons provision, and the Second Circuit has addressed it only sparingly. The provision was first addressed by the Circuit Second in the United States. They gave another case where the court observed either that the statute nor the case law defines the circumstances by which may qualify as exceptional reasons permitting release. In the legislative history on the issue is sparse and uninformative. The court further stated that a case-by-case evaluation is essential, and it is not our intention to foreclose district judges from the full exercise or discretion in these matters. They give another case. They said the circumstances here are by definition exceptional. It has never been the Mann Act prosecution remotely like this. Clearly, it is precisely the type of exception that the court in the Lear was contemplating when it gave this wide latitude to the trial court. So now they say, I'm trying to get to the stuff I really want y'all to see. The district court found exceptional circumstances. The court of appeals served. Okay, I think it's down here. Hold on one second. The proper reason here, specifically the exceptional nature of prosecuting an incarcerated person convicted of paying for sex services to be provided to his girlfriend, as well as the exceptional circumstances facing Mr. Combs at the MDC, given the truly unique circumstances of this case, are specifically the type of exceptional reasons that justify release under Section 3145. Okay, so he's saying that they were a swinger lifestyle, that in the jury, found Mr. Combs not guilty of the other serious charges. So that is part of why they're saying he should get out. But now I do want to read this part to you. The prosecution and continued incarceration of Sean Combs are unique in the history of the Mann Act. There has literally never been a case like this one, where a person and his girlfriend arranged for adult men to have consensual sexual relations with adult long-term girlfriend as part of a demonstrated swingers lifestyle, and has been prosecuted and incarcerated under the Mann Act. Combs and two of his longtime girlfriends had a private, intimate life that is not uncommon today. It may not have been common on June 25th, 1910, when the Mann Act, or it was originally called the White Slave Traffic Act, was passed. But attitudes about sex and morality have come a long way since in the last 115 years. It is worth noting that when the Mann Act was passed to protect the morals and decency of America's women, American women were not allowed to vote, as noted below, perhaps due to troubling background of this statute, whose history is rich with both racism and misogyny. The Department of Justice has limited its application to those people profiting financially from the business of P, and not using it to prosecute consensual adults for their own lifestyles. Okay, so then they go into how Cassie, Ventura, and Combs went to swingers clubs and they had threesomes. Miss Ventura consistently expressed interest and enthusiasm in her intimate life with Combs, including what they call freak-offs. Jane and Sean Combs had threesomes too. When Jane and Combs watched P together, Jane testified that she contacted two different P stars and invited them to join her and Mr. Combs. Both Miss Ventura and Jane testified that very often they would see the same men over and over again for years. In July of 2024, Jane testified, for instance, that she suggested to Mr. Combs that they call Paul. Jane explained that she told Combs she missed Paul. When asked why she said that, she responded, "Because I did." That this was a lifestyle, one that both Miss Ventura and Jane chose. One day all, as grown adults, have the right to choose. Like many aspects of sex and intimacy, it is not without its complications, its bouts of jealousy, and at times its frustrations. But that is the hallmark of any serious romantic relationship, and that is what these were: serious, long-term romantic relationships. They go into a lot more here. A jury listened closely to all the evidence concerning the two relationships at the center of this sprawling racketeering conspiracy indictment, and the jury acquitted Mr. Combs of all the serious counts and almost all of the conduct charged. The jury concluded that Miss Ventura and Jane were not forced, coerced, or defrauded into having commercial sex. but it did conclude that there was P, that the payment for the Cowboys for Angels, the P Stars, and others amounted to sex for money. Despite what the only 2 escorts called by the government to testify. In the lifestyle that he and other adults voluntarily chose, Mr. Combs would be called a swinger. But in the vocabulary of the Mann Act or of P. Generally, he might at worst be somewhat called a John, someone who pays to have sex with a sex worker, in this case, a male sex worker, with particularly a male sex worker who works for and is vetted by a well-known company, Cowboys for Angels. Sean should not be in jail for this conduct. In fact, he may be the only person currently in the United States jail for being any sort of John, and certainly the only person in jail for hiring male escorts for him and his girlfriend when he did not even have sex with the male escort himself. Over the last 75 years, the White Slave Traffic Act has been limited to defendants who cause interstate travel for financial gain through the business of P, as reflected in cases brought under the statute, as well as the explicit enforcement policies out in the United States Attorney Manual. And then, they go on and on. They talk about how he's not a danger and that he didn't engage in violence since after him and Cassie broke up. And yes, they acknowledged the incident that happened between him and Jane in 2024, but they also acknowledged that she pretty much initiated that incident and she admitted to it in court. They get into a lot in this. I want to come down because it's long to another piece of it. Okay, so they give a lot of case. Okay, here it is. They said there is no risk of flight or danger to the community. Sean's is not a risk of flight, nor is he a danger to the community or to any specific people. Given this undisputed facts that Mr. Combs voluntarily came to New York to surrender in this case in advance of his arrest, he surrendered his passport to his lawyers 6 months before his arrest, that he paid off the outstanding mortgage on his home in Miami prior to his arrest so that he will own a home free and clear to secure any bail package, that he was now been acquitted of racketeering conspiracy and trafficking charges against him. There is no serious argument that he is a flight risk. When we turn our attention to the government's arguments, in the court statements on July 2nd, 2025, that he poses a danger to the community or to others due to his past violence. The courts noticed that the defense admitted a history of violence to Ms. Ventura and that he struck Jane twice in June 2024. However, we strenuously object that Mr. Combs poses a danger to the community if he released on conditions based on the facts developed at trial. Aside from a single incident on June 18, 2024, where Mr. Combs was provoked by Jane through her own acts of violence, there was no evidence of any acts of violence in the last 7 years. Indeed, the jury notably rejected the government's argument that the June 2024 incident constituted coercion when it acquitted Mr. Combs of trafficking charge in count 4. Also, prior to his arrest, in the case, Mr. Combs enrolled in DV program in which he participated until he was arrested and incarcerated in connection with this case. The court is familiar with the trial, so we're not going to go back over that again. And they said if he's released, he'll be fine. He's not going to be violent. He'll return to court. So they again offered a $50 million bond. They offered 3 people to co-sign on this bond. They're saying he would stay in his home in Miami. He will limit travel to the Southern District of Florida and the Southern District of New York for attorney meetings, as well as airport necessary to travel between the two. A defendant will be placed under express supervision of the U.S. Pretrial Services Agency and must report to the agency as directed. And Combs will surrender his passports. So again, they saying in any other conditions the court wants to impose upon him, he would accept it. But he's saying, please let me out. Okay. It's interesting to know about the Mann Act. It's interesting to know that he's probably the only one in history that has been convicted of the Mann Act in this particular circumstances, and that, you know, he's locked up. Julius, should they set him free?
I mean, all they really got him locked up on, they didn't say it. I mean, well, we didn't go farther enough. It's some Johnson and Johnson. Because when I think back on that whole entire spectacle of a trial, all I hear is Johnson and Johnson. Okay, he like to use some Johnson and Johnson baby oil. Oh well, that's all I hear. He was found not guilty of RICO, right? Found not guilty of RICO. He's been in there a year.
Not a year yet. September will be a year.
Almost. 10 months. What now? What? What is it? The Karens crying more because they couldn't get the big conviction? Like, honestly, I'm at the point of minding my beautiful, educated black business. Let the man out. He gonna do. The case wasn't solid like it was with R. Kelly. Let the man out. That's it. That's all.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts? Should they set him free?
I think he should, because I think he's in there because of his personal reasons, not his personal reasons. Remember when the judge said the reason for not letting him, be bail was because of violence? Remember that? And that's why he couldn't get bail. That's personal. And so I'm saying, at this point, this man ain't doing it. Everybody in America knows who he is. This man has no private life. So who is he a harm to, a threat to? Nobody. So yeah, I think he should, because I think it's because the judge, because he is the judge and he can and he did, all said and done. And he stays stays locked up until the 3rd. All because of the judge, I think.
Thank you, Wayne. Katrina, your thoughts?
If I was him, I would just wait it out. So when he do go to court, they can say time served, and hopefully he can get like good behavior, so he'll get out that way. But I feel like this also, the system is totally messed up. I'm not a Diddy fan. Don't like him. Don't like what he did to his artists and stuff like that. So I'm not clapping up for Diddy. But what I'm saying is the system is messed up. You got this man just pushed somebody on a railroad track, and she lost her legs. Not mention that he was already out for doing something else to somebody else with a 4-year-old and the mama. But he out. You got this girl out here popping people in the head with rocks in a sock after she already tried vehicular homicide, and she walking out. You put all these charges out there on Diddy. You found nothing but the prostitution thing, and you holding her in there for that. Now that's what I have to say. That's just messed up, because if these people can be out on bond, walking around, popping people, throwing them on trains, and you got our president, which we already know what he's done, it's been proven, and he's walking free. He in Scotland. He's doing everything he wants to do. And then you got this other lady you're trying to give immunity to because you scared. And you got the Tate brothers that committed crimes. They're out. Abercrombie and Fitch, he out. He playing that he got Alzheimer's. All of them get Alzheimer's when it's time for them to get behind them bars. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? I mean, all these people are out, but you holding this man for prostitution. And y'all know I love my Lifetime movies, because I see the movies all the time. They go, the neighbors in the suburbs put keys in a bowl. Whoever get the key, that's who they have sex with. Then they dressed up in these costumes. These people been doing this junk for years and for centuries, and it ain't gonna stop. And like I said, if I was him, I'd just try to work it out and stay in there until my date. But I get it. Don't nobody want to be locked up in no jail. I mean, come on. Don't nobody want to see no great walls every day. Tell him, child, there's no way. So I could see him trying to fight to get out of there. But if I was him, I'll just hold down. You already held it down this long. Go to your sentencing date, and maybe they'll say time served. He's not acting up in the jail, so he could get good behavior and stuff like that. But like I said, but the system is not fair. The system is not fair at all. It's ridiculous. It's one sided, and our side do not win most of the time. But good luck. We'll see what it comes out in the courtyard. Diva. That's all I got.
Ooh, thank you.
Diva, may I add?
Yes, you can.
It just seems to me they want to put Diddy behind bars. This is how I see it. They want to put him in timeout, right, to hide their dirt. Because I feel like this also. They be doing the same stuff Diddy be doing. Because I also think about the movie with what's the name? Kerry Washington and Samuel L. Jackson, where Samuel L. Jackson plays the cop who lost his wife, stalks his neighbor. And I'm like, but y'all be doing the same stuff, but y'all want to put him on timeout for it. Like, make it make sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say this. We're going to see the prosecutors have until Thursday to respond to this request. But I think the prosecutors, they're having trouble. Well, one, they lost Maureen. So I don't know who's going to step up and be the lead now with 6 of them. So it's 5 left. So I don't know who's going to step up and be the lead. But they have to Thursday to respond. But I believe they was having trouble finding case studies that are going to warrant, keeping Diddy in jail and giving him like an extreme sentence. The reason why I say he should sit there, because let's just say his time is going to be 12 months, then which is a year, then you would have served your year. You would have served your year. In my mind, I'm like sitting there and just wait it out. I mean, what is October 3rd? You got 60 days. I know jail is not fun, but with 60 days, but especially being that you almost been there a year already. But listen, everybody, thanks for being here for Tuesday Night Trending Topics. Y'all know the routine. If you ain't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo.